Back in 2015, I made a video called Are We in the Dragon Ball Renaissance? As we got three major things that year in Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Dragon Ball Super, and Resurrection of F, making a movie, a big video game, and a new series all in 1 year, making that a big move for the Dragon Ball franchise. But I think 2017 has its own inner universe revolution when it pertains to Dragon Ball, and I believe this is the female revolution of Dragon Ball, specifically in Dragon Ball Super. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to get straight into my points as I'm going to talk about all of the female characters that are going to have prominence and who have already had prominence. So let's talk about the Female Saiyans of Dragon Ball Super. When you look at Caulifla and if you look at Kale, these are two female characters that we are going to be seeing with the ability to transform into a Super Saiyan. We saw Caulifla turning into a Super Saiyan in the episode 92 preview of Dragon Ball Super, and in addition to this, we all know from all of the previews we've been seeing that Kale was able to transform into a female Broly-like character, so that's clearly a big step up. And for other female Saiyans, the only one we could really talk about is Fasha, originally known in Japanese as Saripa, and Jine, who's the mother of Goku, and all we really know is that she really loved Bardock and they were sad to send Goku away before their demise. That's really it. And the fact that she worked in a meat factory. So there's really not much to go with there. And the first thing that this tells me is that means that Universe 6 is definitely going to have way more development in the future, because I find it very hard to believe that with Kaba, Caulifla, and Kale, that they're not going to reuse those characters later on in the future of Dragon Ball Super when the Tournament of Power goes into another direction or when it concludes. I cannot see these characters not being used, and also this also reinforces the fact that it would make it more intriguing for us to visit Universe 6 and see what could possibly be going on in their universe with all of their female Saiyans, in addition to seeing how Vegeta would interact with them. So I definitely think those two female Saiyans in Universe 6 are a bridge to Universe 7 and all of the other universes, as we've never really seen female Super Saiyans before. And to talk more about the female Super Saiyan concept, we've never seen this, considering the fact that in the main Dragon Ball storylines of Ball, Z, GT, and Super, and you can't really call Ball because nobody went Super Saiyan in Ball, but the point I'm trying to get at here is, in those main series, we've never seen a female Super Saiyan character. Pan probably should have been the one to turn into a Super Saiyan the most in Dragon Ball GT, and I have a video talking more about Pan being a Super Saiyan later on this week. But other than that, there was never ever a character that would have even have had the chance to turn into a female Super Saiyan, and the fact that we have two means a lot. But to talk more about some other elements of female characters in Dragon Ball Super, we have the female angels. Now, when you consider the fact that Vados is from Universe 6, Cuss is from Universe 10, Margarita is from Universe 11, and Martino is from Universe 12, that tells me that 4 out of the 12 angels are female, and if you also count this even more, Heres or Hellas is also a god of destruction who is also a female character, and that tells me that you now have 5 uber tier powerful female characters in the Dragon Ball Super series, and that's not something we've really had before. I mean, we've had strong females in Dragon Ball. If you count canon and non-canon stuff, we've had people like Zangia, and if you go back to Dragon Ball, you know, there were some strong female characters. Launch was a strong female character, especially in her angry blonde form. And we've also had, like, you know, Husky and, you know, Colonel Violet. You know, we've had other female characters in the Dragon Ball series, but not to this degree where they're like a serious ally or potentially a serious antagonist if any one of them potentially went rogue. So that's definitely something I felt that we should talk about. When it pertains to Vados specifically, she's already had some prominence, with Whis obviously being his sister and her limiting, you know, what Champa could do in the Dragon Ball series, and we're definitely probably going to see more about the other characters. Martino, however, is an interesting case because she's from Universe 12, and considering the fact that Universe 12 is not going to be participating in the Tournament of Power, that tells me that she might not have as much of a role, but in the future, after this tournament concludes, who knows what her role might be. Now, I think the big thing about this video, guys, that shocked me from episode 91 would have to be Brianne de Chateau, which is a character that is clearly a parody on the Sailor Moon series, as we saw her literally transforming into like a fat Teletubby Majin Buu looking character. And to me, although she's only one specific individual character, this tells me that the sky is the limit to seeing what other females from other universes can be, considering how the episode showed her to obviously indicate that she's very powerful. And if they're showing her, that clearly means that she's going to have more prominence in the tournament or moving later on, because you don't show a character if you're not going to use the character. Majin Buu. Anyways, moving on to that, guys, I've already talked about the out-of-universe characters, and to talk more about the in-universe characters, what do I see moving in for Universe 7 from here on out? Well, when it pertains to present-day Pan and Bra, I don't see those characters having any potential roles in the series, because the simple fact of the matter is they're too young. And if what Toyotaro is saying comes true, where, you know, we're not going to exceed the end of Z, what could a toddler Pan and a baby Bra really do? Like, I don't really see. I mean, people might say, oh wow, those two girls are young and they might have potential, but other than that, I don't really see them having any potential role, because they're just too young, and there's already more developed characters that you can use instead of having to develop new characters from scratch, especially at that age. So I don't see anything for Pan and Bra. When it pertains to Bulma and Chi-Chi, their characters have already been locked, if you really think about it, because Bulma's basically been the same character throughout the series. The only major change in Bulma is that she's become significantly less selfish than the initial stages of Dragon Ball, when it was all about her and she wanted to make a wish with the Dragon Balls just for strawberries. And for Chi-Chi, I mean, she's kind of the same. She wants Goten and Gohan to get an education, and she wants Goku to work. I mean, what more is there to learn about Chi-Chi's character at this point? So I think their characters are set. And as far as Android 18, I mean, she's probably the only character I can see in Universe 7 specifically that can really have a role that can expand, where she can possibly in the Tournament of Power, even though there's been, you know, some preview talk about her and Krillin dropping out. 18 is really the only fighter character that can really do something, and if you really think about it, she could also interact with Android 17 and Krillin and possibly go more into the plot, but not really to the point where she could potentially be a lead character. And as far as Urine is shown, she's a new character that came into the mix that obviously looks like she has a crush on Tien, and she might be training in the future and she could be something. But I think her character just had too brief of a moment in the Dragon Ball series to really talk about it. So the point I'm getting at here is when it pertains to Universe 7 females, it really seems like most of these characters don't have as much potential to expand, or their characters are kind of locked into their recurring roles. And if there was one more character that I think we should talk about in Universe 7, would have to be Aurelie. Now, I understand that Aurelie is a Dr. Slump character, and she's obviously not canon, wink wink, to the Dragon Ball world, if people still use the term canon. But I do think that looking at episode 69, no sexual pun intended, about Dragon Ball Super, Aurelie did show up as like a side character who, you know, obviously had that little fight against both Goku and Vegeta. If you go back all the way to Dragon Ball, where she was fighting against General Blue, although Aurelie is not in Dragon Ball in terms of actually being a part of the main story and being a part of Penguin Village, I don't think we can completely 100% rule out that she will not come back again at some point, maybe for Toriyama gag humor, maybe to be a side character that helps them fight against villains, but I definitely think Aurelie can come back at some point or another. So, with everything else said, guys, I think this has pretty much been my video for today. I do think that we are having a female revolution in Dragon Ball Super, but mostly dealing with the outer universe characters. I think our characters are set, and let me know what you think in the comment section below as to who you think will have prominence in the Dragon Ball Super series moving forward and in the whole Dragon Ball franchise. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys. And let me know what you think, as I will be responding to a ton of your comments.